I'm a firm believer of positive parenting, and in this video I want to share with you what it's about, the benefits, and 5 positive parenting tips you can use. While it might seem like positive parenting is a new thing that many parents, especially millennials, are trying out because they don't quite agree with the methods they were raised with, but it's not exactly new as it was introduced way back in the 1920s. So give or take, that means it's been around for about a century. I'll skip the history lesson, but if you're curious about it, I'll have a link down below that talks about the history of positive parenting. The idea behind positive parenting is that it assumes children are born good and desire to do the right thing. As you would guess from the name, it emphasizes on using positive ways to discipline, which is important as it shows mutual respect. The big takeaway is that this approach focuses on teaching proper future behavior instead of punishing past misbehaviors. So what are some benefits of using positive parenting? There are quite a few benefits, but these are the ones I personally found most intriguing. Studies have shown that using positive discipline yields positive outcomes in both the child's behavior and emotional growth. On the other hand, punishment in early childhood tends to result in more behavior problems. And then children that are raised with positive parenting have a higher self-esteem, which leads to them believing that they can do things as well as most other children. They're also more resilient, which lets them bounce back from adversity. This next benefit is one of my favorites. When using positive parenting, we no longer have to rely on yelling or punishment to correct problematic behavior. This usually results in a closer bond between parent-child. The mutual respect and open communication strengthens the relationship. As a parent, this is huge for me as I want my son to be able to talk to me about anything and everything. Believe it or not, positive parenting not only benefits the children, but it also benefits the parent. Researchers have found that parents who practice positive parenting gain self-esteem and higher confidence in their own parenting style. These parents also have less stress as their children, for the most part, are well behaved. Now that you know the benefits, I'm sure you're interested in how you can start practicing positive parenting. Here are 5 tips to get you started. Tip 1. Focus on the reason behind the behavior. In other words, get to the root of what's causing the behavior. This is a tough one, and sometimes this requires us to be a detective, especially if our child is a toddler as they're unable to properly communicate with us. There's always something motivating a child's negative or disruptive behavior. The reason may seem ridiculous to your parents, but to your child it's not. For example, your toddler could be banging his silverwares on random plates and cups. This definitely isn't proper table manners, but chances are they're not doing it to try to break something or just to get on our nerves. There's a good chance that they've just discovered different materials make different sounds, and they're just curious to see what each item makes when they hit their silverware on it. This tells us that it's time to prepare musical activities for them to play with. Tip 2. Gentle discipline. Discipline is not the same as punishment. It's natural to believe that if we yell or punish our child for misbehaving, they'll stop misbehaving. But it doesn't teach them anything, and they end up focusing on a punishment instead of learning that their behavior was unacceptable. A great way to discipline and not punish is using a time-in area or a calming corner. This is not the same as timeouts. I have a video that explains the idea behind the calming corner, so make sure to watch that if you want to learn more about it. Tip 3. Be consistent. If we're not consistent, we'll cause confusion. This basically means we can't change the rules on them. If you catch them doing something that you don't agree with, address it then. If you allow them to do it once or twice and address it later, this confuses them as they were previously allowed to do it. Tip 4. Consider if the behavior is age appropriate. Sometimes what we think of as inappropriate behavior is actually age appropriate behavior. Tantrums in toddlers is a normal occurrence, as they have all these emotions that they don't know how to express, and their brains aren't as developed, so they don't have the ability to regulate themselves yet. Toddlers may not understand the consequences of their behavior, so many times we have to explain it to them, and depending on their age, they might not even understand what we're explaining to them, so at times like that, redirecting could be a better option. Tip 5. Be patient. Don't yield to peer pressure from other parents who prefer fear-based parenting. Positive parenting and positive discipline isn't going to produce behavioral changes overnight. While it would be great for the results to show immediately, we're in it for the long run. We want to teach them behavior that our children will emulate over time. It's going to take a lot of explaining day in and day out. Children need repetition to learn. Just keep in mind that the rewards and benefits will last a lifetime. Positive parenting definitely requires a different mindset from what we're used to, and will take plenty of practice and patience. Just remember that we can't always control our children, but we can control the way we respond. I've linked in the description some good resources for positive parenting if you want to read more into it. Let me know down below if positive parenting is something you'd like to try with your child. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more Montessori content, and if you've enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. I'll catch you next time.